What's going on, family? It's your guy, Boro, the Lucky Libra. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. As you can see by the title, we're picking up the Signs Through the Houses series with Capricorn in the 7th house. All right, shout out to all my Cancer risings. Okay, so before we get into it, make sure to like, share, subscribe so we can circulate the gems. Make sure to tap into my website if you'd like to connect with the Lucky Libra. Tap into my Patreon if you'd like to dive deeper. Let's get right into it. Now, what's the 7th house? The 7th house is the house that rules partnerships in our life, one-on-one relationships, all right? You know, we're dealing with marriage here. We're dealing with all type of interaction with people in the external realm, but how we communicate with people on a one-on-one level. This house is showing us how we learn about ourselves through other people, because this house is opposite of our first house, which is our personality, okay? So depending on what signs and planets you have in this house, going to give us a whole lot of insight on what you're prone to experience in your relationships, what you're prone to experience as far as the traits, what's likely as far as traits to be within the people you attract in your life, not just on the intimate level. If you just look at your life overall, you might see there's a common theme with a lot of things with certain people in your life. All right. And some of these things could be 7th house influences. These are things that you're here to learn and deal with other people or in your relationships. Okay. So that's what we're dealing with in the 7th house. Now, first things first, Capricorn in the 7th house, Cancer risings. First things first, we have to know where Saturn is at. Saturn rules the 7th house. All right. So we need to know what house Saturn is in, because whatever house Saturn is in, Saturn is going to be bringing its experiences into the 7th house. Also, the house Saturn is in is the house that you may have developed a lot of fruitful relationships, karmic relationships. This is the house where you may have married your husband, married your wife out of this house, right? Your fiance came out this house, all right? Your twin flame soulmate came out this house, all right? A strong support system, that friend that's like a guardian angel, they came out this house. All right, so that's what we dealing with. We need to locate Saturn. Okay, now Capricorn in the 7th house, this individual, when they get into their relationship, they're gonna have more of a serious temperament within their relationships. So the cancer personality is, you know, it's a nurturer, a great listener, very understanding, big empathic vibrations here, you know, real sensitive to the emotions to others, but very careful and cautious about what comes into their first house, comes into their personal life. So when they go into their relationships, Cancer risings, Capricorn, 7th house, very serious temperament with their relationships here. They're not playing with their relationships. They look at them seriously. They look at dealing with exchanging their time. Keyword Saturn, time, Capricorn, time, Saturn, ruler of time. Time. These are the things that it's a big theme here. I ain't finna be wasting my time with you if I don't see what we building. Time is very important here. If you're dealing with a Cancer rising and they got real frustrated because you probably showed up somewhere late, or you rescheduling some shit, you rescheduling a date, you supposed to go on a date with them, and then you called them an hour for the date. Yo, listen, I ain't gonna be able to make it. Oh shit, you lost some points. It could have been. And sorry if me moving around, y'all, is really bothering y'all. It's late. I'm tired, and I got to move around to, you know, keep my energy high, because I'm devoting myself to hitting certain quotas. All right, and the reason could have been serious why they got to reschedule, but that they don't play with their time. Saturn is very serious wherever house it's in, whatever house it rules. Capricorn, and whatever house Capricorn is in, you're being influenced to take your time in that house either way. So even if the Cancer rising puts themselves in a position where for some reason they're head over heels with somebody, and they're trying to either speed things up, which is not really likely, but well, depending on the sun and moon, actually, but if we're just talking the Cancer personality in the first house, and that's not really likely. They're not going to want to rush things with relationships and people anyways, business agreements, any of that shit. Because the 7th house, we are looking at the people that you may manifest, situations you may manifest with business and, you know, creative collaborations and shit. So Yeah, with Capricorn here, man, now the thing is, Cancer risings, they may look at, yeah, they're going to be serious tempered. They're going to have a serious temperament with their relationships. But at the same time, they're going to, you got to be careful, Cancer rising, that you don't look at your relationship like it's a business transaction. You feel me? You may manifest a lot of, you may know how to create networking opportunities out of thin air. You know, you may be good for that. You may have friends, and you may be able to know how to see how they can make money. But then when you bring it into them, you say something, include yourself in. Now you done created a whole business venture out of nowhere. You know, trust me, I'm a Capricorn in 7th house. They're going to jump into some network energies, or they're going to understand how they can build stability and security with other individuals. They're going to manifest the network opportunities. People may see you as somebody that can keep the partnership, the group more stable, and your ability to help bring structure to a partnership or group may be a gift that you're able to take into different situations dealing with people. All right. But the thing here is, having Capricorn, such a serious ass sign, right? Such a serious from point A to B sign. Sometimes, once again, emotionally reserved. So the partners you attract here can be real emotionally reserved. You know, you have to teach them how to be a bit understanding or not look at things from such a linear perspective. So you may not even be the one pushing out these traits. It may also be your partner, you know, that's extra serious or looks at shit like a business transaction, or looks at or has an overly practical mindset about things dealing with relationships. You know, real business-minded, goal-oriented people you attract here. And you can also manifest situations for business relationships or people that you develop intimate relationships with in some type of shape or form, help bring stability, security, or help you to create opportunities for stability on your own. They may awaken certain things in you to help you understand where you could become a master builder in your life. And just looking at how they do things may influence you to be a builder, or to use or to build more in your life, structure more in your life. However, with all this serious Capricorn Saturn energy in the 7th house, this person gonna be very realistic with their relationships most of the time, okay? Or they're gonna be pushed to be realistic with their relationships. Let me say that. You may not be realistic from the gate, and you may experience some things in relationships that make you start realizing, like, yo, I don't like having my time wasted. I don't like dealing with people that's not serious when I'm serious. So all of this starts to manifest more serious ideals, relationships. And now all of this starts to influence you to be more realistic with how you go about dating, picking mates or whatnot. But that's the thing. You got to be careful if you're looking at your relationships like they're a transaction and looking at it like it's business. You have to jump into being more connected, building the connection, building the understanding here. All right. You got to embrace that with Capricorn in the 7th house. Once again, you can't rush anything in the house that you have Capricorn in. The house Capricorn in is things happen over time here. Even if you manifest things in short gains, you're going to start realizing why you didn't want to manifest that in a short gain in some type of shape or form. You're going to want, if everything is more fulfilling when you devote yourself to gaining something over time, learning something over time, building something over time in the house Capricorn is in. So you got to be careful that you don't let the responsibilities for others weigh on you, because you may take responsibilities for others a lot here. And it could be real subconscious. You could take the responsibility for others a lot here. So that could just be draining in your energy, period. That could just be draining on your energy, period. And you also got to make sure that your outlook on relationships, if it's way too serious to the point that you're losing a sense of compassion and understanding in your relationship, that could take pleasure out the relationship. That could take the fun out the relationship. You know? You got to be careful of that, Cancer rising. All right? But Capricorn and Saturn in this house is not going to let you just drift with no serious intention in your relationship, all right? You know, it's almost always something pushing you to get serious here, all right? I took some notes down just to make sure I ain't miss certain things. Loyalty and commitment is going to be a big thing here. Cancer risings, they're not so big on... It's not so much about them having to be in a committed relationship, but they're not going to be so big on sharing their partner like that. especially with Capricorn in the 7th house. Capricorn's reserved. So if they start building a rapport with somebody in the 7th house, they start really confiding in this person to be able to release, exhale, feel understood. So they're not gonna like to share like that. Capricorn can be kind of controlling here. Capricorn can be a little can be controlling here. You got to remember Saturn energy. Saturn don't know nothing about no damn feelings and emotions. Saturn is a user. All right? Saturn is a user. Saturn wants to use something to build. It likes tools. All right? So when he gets into the 7th house, you got to be careful of that. You got to be careful that how you handle the emotions of others. You got to be careful how you handle the emotions of others, you know, because you're a Cancer rising. You personally deal with emotions. When you get into the 7th house, you can misjudge or project your emotions in different ways, and you're gonna have to be the one that kind of have to be more understanding, because you the one that deal with the subconscious personally. You the Cancer rising. You the one that the moon rules your chart. So it's almost like you have to learn to be the bigger person in your relationships and understand how people deal with their emotions, how they think about things, their inner thoughts, their inner energies, their traumas, their roots, their wounds, with their experiences. You gotta take all that into account when you're connecting with people, Cancer rising, you know, because it's almost like you the one that's able to be understanding, healing, and nurturing here. You know, great power come great responsibility. So you being the one that's very understanding here may attract motherfuckers that need to be understood. And with that, AKA the motherfuckers that don't know how to deal with their emotions. All right? Capricorn energy. Or neglect the emotions. Neglect their subconscious. Okay? So yeah, we got that there. Emotionally reserved partners may add resistance. Okay, yeah. You may add a lot of resistance when it comes to building a rapport with Capricorn here, because you might pick up these traits or develop these traits of being reserved or being a little bit, you know, not being as open in the 7th house. You'd be a little closed off here. So not just a partner that you attract that could be a little reserved. You start playing these energies out a little bit. You might start developing these traits with Capricorn in the 7th house. So with that serious temperament, make sure that energy of being serious in your relationship, realistic, practical in your relationship, doesn't turn into, you know, you not being able to experience being the moment in your relationship. You blocking opportunities and blessings to connect. Somebody's trying to learn you, connect with you, and this energy can make it hard for that party, make it hard for that person. All right? So that's key there. Control the relationship. Yes, the controlling shit. Be careful of that shit, because Saturn once again wants to use, build. Be careful how you use. Capricorn in the 7th house. Be careful how others use you or how you use others. This may be a main theme in your life when it comes to dealing with people. You may start to feel like certain people aren't of use in your life if you can't use them. You know, that might be very negative. And then you got to be careful, motherfuckers, in your trying to make you their employees, trying to make you an employee without paying you for something. All right, that's important there. And the thing is, Saturn loves the 7th house. Saturn loves this house because it's like, what better place to build my reality, work on my reality, than dealing with people, aka restricting people. Limiting situations, restricting certain relationships, putting time into relationships that make sense. This is a great way to help shift and build my reality. So, you know, you're going to have a strong intuition as to who's a progressive individual to have in your life, who brings structure into your life, how you can help bring structure into somebody else's life without draining yourself. You're going to have great intuition of these things. So you make sure you listen to your intuition with Saturn ruling this house. Okay? With Saturn also being the ruler of this house, wherever you have Saturn at in your chart, you have to be conscious of how you include people into what you're building in that house. Because since it rules your seventh house, you may correlate a lot of relationships and other people into things that you're building. So make sure that you're not overly including people into things you're trying to build just because, when you could build shit on your own. And always put yourself in a position to make sure you're learning from other individuals and you're not being stubborn as to how you're building something. So that could add on to Saturn's gift of resonating and picking up or shifting things in the seventh house. All right. Now, these people may be homebodies. You know, Cancer in the first house. Capricorn ain't the most sociable sign for real. You know, so when you get into seventh house areas, these person you'll see this reserve energy. Maybe you'll see possibly a little bit shy here. So this is why with Capricorn in the seventh house, the people that they're really going to gravitate to are people that they feel like they didn't have to change shit about themselves when they met this person. They didn't have to put no fake first impression on. They didn't have to fake laugh. They was just really dumb. And this person just, they like people, they're gonna grow in a real affection for somebody that just accepts them for who they are, doesn't force them to be more open, doesn't force them to be more relatable, doesn't force them. It's like, nah, I'm on your type time. I'm on your page. You know, Capricorn, Cancer rising can have a real cool, calm, collective demeanor. So when it comes into the seventh house, that may be something that they're attracted to, okay? Or that's something that people are really attracted to about them. All right? So that's that. And then, yes, this is the last thing I'm going to end it here with. With Capricorn dealing with the public eye, Capricorn dealing with how you present yourself to the public, it's dealing with professionalism, career status. When you get to the seventh house, you got to make sure that you're not jumping into relationships and potentially marriage for strictly materialistic reasons, superficial reasons. This may play out, this placement can play out as a trophy placement. You could want to seek a trophy wife, trophy husband, or whatnot. Now, I don't even know if that's a real phrase. I don't even know. I heard trophy wife before. I don't know if people say trophy husband, but I get it. Trophy wife, trophy husband, trophy baby mama, baby daddy. Oh well. But you can't be picking partners and jumping into marriage because of this type of shit. That will not be a good foundation here. So I'm not saying that is a problem seeking partners that's stable, that got their shit going on. I'm not saying it's a problem if that's one of your requirements. Like, I'd like to date somebody that has a career that's stable, that can pay their own bills. There ain't nothing wrong with that at all. What I'm saying is, when you connect with somebody and they're financially stable, or when you connect with somebody, you know, and you're just thinking about how this person make you look, you know, once again, professionalism, career, a lot of these things come into why a person with Capricorn 7th house, why they want to marry you. Especially if this is a business person. This is like a businessman. They real serious about how their wife reflect, you know, into their business world, especially if they're in like if they're in the corporate world or in a certain industry or whatnot, where, you know, your wife has to have a good representation. This is very key for them. All right. It's very key for them. But yeah, you gotta be careful for like jumping into relationships, marriages for materialistic reasons and shit, you know, superficial reasons. You gotta be careful of that. And because it's Saturn ruled house, because Capricorn takes its time, you know, a lot of the times long-lasting, long-term relationships or marriage could come later in life here. I don't just like to look at the 7th house with things dealing with marriage, okay? But a lot of the times it can play out like this here, just because Saturn and Capricorn is here. So this person may go through their experiences, relationships, till they start to really understand, until they get to a point where they want to get stable in a relationship, or just when Saturn matures, sometime after Saturn returns, probably a couple of years after Saturn returns and shit. Saturn returns 27 through 30. So by the time you probably get past 35, 40 now, is more of a serious outlook on marriage and shit like that. Or them situations may manifest. All right, but this ain't the place. This ain't the sign. Cancer rising. You're not the person to be rushing relationships. That's not what you do, and you don't allow people to rush you in relationships. You may have somebody bringing up marriage really quick, and you saw the potential for marriage. You saw the potential for marriage early in the relationship. You avoid seeing it, but they kind of brought it up quicker than you thought they would. And you're uncomfortable with it. These are things you're gonna have to learn to communicate in a mature way, so you're not disturbing, your comfort zone within the relationship. You continue to build a trustworthy rapport. All right. Instead of you just by the time get to wedding time, like, I can't do it. I can't. Oh man. All that time we put in, girl. You got Capricorn in the 7th house, girl. I was working with you. I was putting in time. Why you didn't tell me this before? All right. But that's what we got going on with Capricorn in the 7th house, y'all. All right. You might manifest a controlling partner. You might manifest a controlling partner, the real career-oriented partner, the workaholic partner, the partner that want to build with you, include you into the business. All right, so that's what we got going on with Capricorn in the 7th house, family. Y'all already know the vibes. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Make sure to tap into the website to connect with the Lucky Libra. Tap into my Patreon if you'd like to dive deeper. Until next time, family. Peace.